Welcome to the Money Mentors Podcast.
This podcast is for you. So if you have a retirement question you'd like us to address, reach out to us online anytime at matsonfinancial.com. No matter what age you decide that retirement is right for you, there are some key ages along this retirement journey, and we call them retirement milestones. And actually, these retirement milestones, some of them have changed over the years due to things like rule changes in Washington. We've talked over the last several years here about Secure Act. First, there was the original Secure Act, and then Secure Act 2.0, which then changed up some of the ages again. Social Security ages, sometimes those things change. So we thought today we'd go back through these milestones for our listeners here on Money Mentors and explain some of these key milestones and what they mean for you as our listeners, so that even if you're not planning to retire now, you're taking some of these key steps at certain ages. And so I wanted to go back first, and let's talk about one of the big ones, and I think maybe just psychologically, because I'm getting closer to this one. I don't really want to admit it, but
I don't believe it.
It's getting closer. But age 50. So I think I'm going to have a little bit of an age crisis when I get there, but it's getting closer.
half a century party.
Oh my goodness.
Cool.
Oh, why did you have to put it like that, Taylor? I don't know.
Okay,
that didn't,
he's like, oh, I'm cringing. So,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I'm trying to backwalk right now.
Yes. That did not make things any better, but it's coming for me soon. Not yet. But
The golden years.
Ooh.
Right? That sounds good.
No, that still doesn't matter.
No, still doesn't? Okay.
No.
We'll just move on from it then
Well,
to
anyways,
save
let's
you
talk
from
about what it
despair.
means.
Yes, financially. Okay, you two try to dig yourselves out here and tell me financially what it means for those of us who are approaching that age.
Yes. Well, the good news about 50, Jennifer, is it's catch-up contribution time. So that means, right, with all different kinds of accounts, I won't go over all of the numbers because your eyes are just going to start probably glazing over. But just know that there are limits to what you can contribute, to your different employer plans and things like that. And at 50, they allow you to then contribute more to say, hey, you've hit that time, you're nearing, let's let you put more in for the sake of time because you're getting closer.
Yep, those catch-up contributions. So if we're thinking about just employer plans, all the plans that start with a 4, right? 401k,
Okay.
403b, you can contribute an additional $7,500 on top of your normal contribution. And if it's an IRA, that's an additional $1,000 catch-up.
So there you go. Wasn't too bad. He threw some numbers in there for you.
Yeah, okay, a few there. And I don't want to skip too far ahead, but also new this year is for people in their 60s, what's called super catch-up contributions too. So that's kind of cool
Yeah.
too. Mm-hmm.
It's super interesting. So, right, you must meet specific criteria if that's 60, 61, 62, or 63 on December of the calendar year, and generally have already contributed the maximum deferral amount. And then once you turn 64, your contributions revert to the standard age of 50 plus. We talked about this a little bit before. Don't know the reasoning, but just know that there are different milestones in those early 60s that you can do this super catch up, and it's brand new.
Yep, $11,250.
Okay. So check with your fiduciary advisor because, again, they should be keeping on top of these things, helping you with those decisions. The rules changed so much. So just know that you have some room to do a little catch up here in those later years. Now, the next important key milestone on this list, this is a big one, age 59 and a half. I don't know why they throw in the half for us, but it's the government we're talking about here.
I know. Nothing else is a half. So
what's key here, though, about that when it comes to especially our retirement accounts?
You can get access to your retirement accounts to start pulling money out without that additional 10% penalty.
Okay.
That's the key one. I would say just as importantly is if you have an employer plan and you're thinking about retiring at 62, 64, whenever that is, after age 59 and a half, most times this is where that in-service withdrawal becomes available. So now you can really be in control of your money, diversify out of that 401k plan that you may only have 20 to 25 different investment options in, and really start building your retirement plan for the future, getting that money, rolling it out of your 401k, and start diversifying into other types of investments that you don't have available inside of that employer plan.
Okay. That is huge for a lot of people because again, a world of investment options are out there. So you're not necessarily locked into that plan that you've had with your employer all these years. You guys help people with those rollovers. You don't have to do this on your own, right?
Oh, absolutely. It would terrify me to have somebody doing it themselves because there's a lot of room to mess it up. Those custodians are going to ask you a series of questions and you'll probably be a little bit of a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Because if you take those dollars to yourself, that is taxable. There are some things in place to say, hey, you can put it back, but it's a really short window and you only get one of those a year. So it's really complicated in those ways. So just let us help you with it. We've got a great team who's really trained on it. And then we can track those funds from one to the next and make sure it doesn't trigger a taxable event.
Well, and another piece to that that's important is if you do it incorrectly and you have them send you a check thinking, just for easy math here, I've got $100,000 in this account that I'm going to roll over, but they send you a check, it's going to be probably 20% less because most of those 401k custodians require a minimum 20% tax withholding, and you're trying to achieve something that's a non-taxable transaction. So you're expecting $100,000 and all of a sudden you get a check for 80 and realize that, oh shoot, 20 of that went to IRS. That's
Panic
bad.
button.
You don't want that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good to know there. Next on the retirement milestones checklist here is what we talked about earlier, age 62. What's key with that one?
Yeah, so that is when you're eligible to collect Social Security. This is the earliest age you can begin receiving this benefit, but keep in mind it is a reduced benefit, right?
Okay.
So your full retirement age is when you get that full benefit, and any age prior to taking Social Security is going to be reduced. So it might make sense to go early, right? It depends on when you want to retire. What does your nest egg look like? What's your health like? Lots of different things to consider, not just I like that amount. Let's go ahead and sign up. Because also, what does that do for your surviving spouse should you pass first? What are they going to receive? So let us help you through this portion of your plan as well. We'll do some Social Security maximization or optimization planning.
Another piece to that before we go on to the next age is you mentioned it's a reduction. If you take it at 62 and your full retirement age is 67, it's about a 30% reduction.
It's big.
I mean, it's quite substantial. That doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't take it because of that. Everybody's unique. Every plan is different. I've recommended numerous times for my clients to take Social Security at 62 for various different reasons.
Yeah. Just, again, very individual decision, though, depending
Yes.
on your circumstances. So think through that carefully. Next on the list, and this is, I think, what most people think of as traditional retirement age, and that's 65. But that's probably for the reason that they mention on this list here.
Medicare,
Yes.
you are eligible. Not eligible, you have to.
Right. Mandatory.
You are both eligible and it's mandatory.
And if you don't sign up, guess what? You're going to be penalized.
Oh,
Yep.
goody.
And you're going to continue. I think it's a forever penalty.
Yes, that is correct.
You can't get out of it, which is crazy to
wow.
me because, once again, if you don't know it as the everyday person, maybe your advisor didn't talk to you about this stuff and you missed it, that window is gone. So make sure you're really working with professionals who understand Medicare. We have Health Solutions as a part of our team here, an integral part. Because of that, we want to make sure that all of these pieces are working together.
Absolutely. It's why we have Medicare Matt on the team,
I was just
on our
gonna say,
Health
where's he at when we
Solutions
need
side. Right. Yeah. If you want to learn more about that, on our website, matsonfinancial.com, you can click on Health Solutions there and schedule your complimentary Medicare consultation there with Matt. Age 66 and 67. That's next on the retirement milestones checklist. Again, going back to Social Security, key ages here.
Yep, full retirement age. That's when you would receive what's called the PIA, your primary insurance amount, which is the benefit you would receive at full retirement age. Anything you take earlier than that, obviously, is a reduction, like we said. But if you wait, each month you wait after your full retirement age, it actually grows. Mm-hmm. So that's when you can take that. Another thing to note on that is you can also work as much as you want and not be penalized. You are going to pay taxes likely, but you won't be penalized for working once you take Social Security at full retirement age. That's also a consideration about taking it at age 62. I want to take it, but I'm going to still work. Well, you're going to be penalized and pretty hefty. Once you stop working, it will start to come back. But there's a lot of those factors we got to look at.
So that's the important thing, too, is not only when to retire and when you do retire, but if you decide to go back to work, there's a lot of, discussion there. Don't just sign back up for that job and start going somewhere. You want to make sure we talk about all these different things when it comes to earned income.
All right. Good to know. And then if you want to wait it out, age 70, that's really the time. There's no benefit to waiting anymore for that Social Security benefit after that. That's where you max things out, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. The eligibility, you can collect your maximum Social Security benefit. It doesn't grow past that. That is it.
All right. So get the max there. Do a lot of people do that? Do they want to wait till 70? What do you
A
find?
few.
Okay.
I'm seeing more people saying that they just want to take it early because they don't know what's going to happen. They're not
Exactly.
sure
Yeah.
about health. Or I've put my money into it. It's harder for the government to change something when I'm already receiving that benefit
True.
versus change that benefit for people that haven't received it yet. Like
Yeah, I
us,
get that.
right?
Yeah.
So-
And also we do the math to show you, at 67, this is the amount that you would get like over time, right? Based on life expectancy. And then you can compare that to, okay, well, if I waited, what would that look like overall at 70? And sometimes you're like, oh, it's not really that big of a difference for me to wait and put more pressure on my portfolio in some circumstances.
Yep.
So doesn't make sense. But that's where the clarity comes in to say, we're going to do this planning. You can see it in front of you and we're going to have conversations so you understand the why behind everything.
We're going to tell you more in just a moment about how you can run your Social Security numbers with your money mentors. But finally, on the retirement milestones checklist here, an important age, very important, age 73. Why is that?
Oh, yes. Required minimum distributions. Now, if you are one of those at 70 and a half or whenever those ages were changing up until,
72.
yes, you don't get to then say, oh, 73 now I get to stop and then I get to start at 73. Now you're sadly grandfathered into the old ways, but anybody moving forward at age 73, if you have a pre-tax account, employer plan, right, IRA, 401k, all of those things, it is mandatory there's a percentage that you start taking out of your account. Now, you don't have to consume those dollars. You can reinvest them, things like that. But you also want to make sure you have a plan because this percentage every year is going to increase based on your age. And likely, or should, your account should increase too, which means your required minimum distribution is going to grow. So don't want that tax bomb.
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback off of that, I feel like I'd be remiss not to mention age 70 and a half again, just because, that was the old RMD age. But also at 70 and a half is when you can start making those qualified charitable distributions. Oh. So if that's a part of you're already tithing and you're taking it out of your current income, or maybe you're pulling money from your IRAs, using it for your income and then gifting from that, you might as well gift from that qualified account directly so you're not paying taxes on it.
Okay. Great to know here, and important to note, too, they're going to push this out to 75 on this RMD age pretty soon, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Going through the fact of longevity, right? We're all living longer. So it is nice. However, it gets complicated, right? Because you're dealing with people, right? 70 and a half, 72, 73, 75. Who is where? But once again, that comes back to making sure you're working with somebody who's licensed, who's a fiduciary, who knows these things, has your best interest at heart, and doesn't just say, oh, yeah, that's a Social Security question. Just call Social Security office.
Right.
That doesn't count. All of these things when it comes to retirement need to be talked about, and it needs to be a part of a holistic plan. You can't have pieces here and there. It just gets complicated and something's going to be missed.
Another thing we've talked about in weeks prior on the radio too is RMDs. It's really, the onus is on the client, is on you as the investor to make sure that that's satisfied.
Now, we don't agree with that.
I was going to say, we don't have that philosophy here. We've got trackers on trackers on trackers to make sure everybody gets that taken care of. But if you don't and you're not hearing from your advisor, make sure that you are satisfying that RMD because it's a pretty hefty penalty if not.
Want weekly lessons from your money mentors? Yes. Hit the subscribe button now and listen every weekend on Wood Radio.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Fee-based financial planning and investment services are offered by Matson Financial Services, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Lakeview Financial Group, LLC, Matson Financial Services, LLC, and Lakeview Financial Group are affiliated. To find out if Matson Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 800-536-8907.